One of the findings from a recent American Psychological Association survey found that over 50% of people are feeling quite a lot of fear right now but it's not actually related to the virus. It's related to going back into the world, going back into the workforce. And so you've made a distinction, I know, throughout the years between fear and anxiety. But to those people who are feeling, pretty anxious and stressed about going back to restaurants, traveling, what advice do you have for them?
Well, I think we have to really look at what people are dealing with and how much of it is rational and how much of it is not. And the truth is, we find security in predictability. And there's so much now that people can't predict because they really don't know what's out there. And, people, particularly economists, have talked about this pent up appetite for getting back into the world. And a lot of people have described it kind of like it was going to be like that scene from Greece where school's out and they kick the doors open and all the kids come running out at the end to the carnival and they're singing and dancing. Like that's what it's going to be like when this quarantine finally ends. But it's quite the opposite, because during this last year, and who thought we would be here a year later still talking about this, but during this last year, everyone's world has gotten much, much smaller. And things we took for granted before, social interaction, competition, and I'm not just talking about competition in academics or whatever, but competition of just getting out into the job market and interacting with people. Those things that we took for granted, we just are intimidated by now. People just don't really know if they're going to be able to handle that. And so I think people are really scared about it and wondering whether or not that's something that they're going to be able to be equal to, or have their skills eroded. Are they going to have jobs? Are they going to be able to really interact? And so I think that this is really a rational fear that people have. And so I think they're concerned about it, and really well should be. I think the damage that comes from prolonged quarantine really outstrips the risk that you face right now from the virus. I think we're going to be seeing the devastation from this prolonged quarantine for decades to come, particularly with our children. I think the fallout from this, we're going to be looking at the devastation of this for decades to come for these children.